In an era where everyone is being met at a very Chinese time of their lives, I myself don't feel that I can do anything that makes me feel more Asian, and also anytime I engage in a feminine trait or activity, there is an entire political party of people who are like, that actually doesn't make you more of a woman. That actually doesn't make you more feminine. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm so Chinese that Chinese New Year is just New Year to me is really good. That is really funny. Gets me every time. I'm more so upset at people who are like, oh, I drink hot water every day and I wear slippers in the house. Very Chinese. I'm Korean, not Chinese, but still Asian. And yet nothing I do makes me feel more Korean, more Asian. I don't feel very Asian. What do I feel like? I don't know. I feel like me, and I don't really have to think about my ethnicity until I encounter people who are aware of my ethnicity and make me thusly aware of it. People who come up to me and say, oh, this is Bruce Lee's kid, or, oh, where are you from? Those are really the only times that I engage with the fact that I am apparently Asian. This is in spite of the fact that I was born and lived in South Korea for 17 years. And you might be thinking to yourself, hey, Quinn, how do you not feel Korean when you lived in Korea for your entire childhood and formative years? I was adopted by Americans. It's not as if I got to be immersed in my own culture for 17 really important years and then had culture shock when I immigrated to the United States. No, I was adopted by an American white family, military. We happened to live in South Korea near a military base. I attended an American school on a military base, or post, because we were in the army. Yeah, I was in the country, but I wasn't living in the country. I was visiting my own home for 17 years. I was adopted when I was 3, and my mom, for reasons unknown and for reasons that are contradictory to all studies that have ever been done on this, thought I would have a more difficult time learning English if I was still speaking Korean. So she prevented people from speaking Korean to me so that I could speak English better. And then in my middle school years was upset at me for not knowing more Korean or being able to learn Korean easily, because that's the language you grew up with. Yeah, it's almost like someone fucking didn't let me speak it past the age of 3. Oh, that's the language you grew up with. You used to be able to ask for apples all the time. And it's not as if I felt like an alien in my own nation, because I was surrounded by people who looked like me. And in addition, there were a lot of Korean and Asian kids at the school I went to. You weren't necessarily facing like bullying for being Asian in Asia. That would be wild. So I didn't even necessarily have the Asian American experience that I also see people talk about online of, oh, I was the only Asian kid in my class and my mom packed me things that smelled weird and then all the white kids made fun of me and now everyone's listening to BTS and watching Squid Game. And it was only by the time that I left Korea that I realized, oh, I wasn't even connected. I'm realizing now that I feel like whenever I talk about Korea, that's when I feel the most white. When I talk about my years in Korea, I feel like some dude who is like, when I went to Italy, the pizza there was great. I know we're at Pizza Hut right now, but like, as soon as I take this bite, oh, I don't know, guys, it's fine, but like, when I was living in Italy, they just did it differently. That's how I feel whenever I go to a Korean restaurant. That's how I feel whenever I eat Korean food or cook Korean food or like speak in Korean or someone just brings up Korean shit. I also don't feel like I can interact with my own culture because it's gotten to a point where people expect that I have done that. People will come up to me and be like, have you seen the latest season of Squid Game? I kind of went out of my way to not watch the second season, partially because I felt like it just wrapped up really well with the first season, and then partially because I didn't really want to play into people's expectations of being like, oh, you watched it, right? Because you're Korean, right? I don't even feel like I could connect with the products that my country churns out and creates. The manner in which I can engage with my home nation while living here seems to be consumerist. Can I connect with the creative projects that my people are making and feel more Korean if Pizza Hut is sponsoring Squid Games? If you could buy like a Squid Game Funko Pop if you could go into a white girl's car and on her dashboard you see little K-pop idol cutouts. If I listen to BTS, I don't feel more Korean. I feel more white. And naturalmente, these are all like the things that are shoved to the forefront and crust of the culture. So you might then be wondering like, oh, Quinn, like delve for the stuff that's underground. I have to accept defeat to be Korean and then Google 10 Korean bands people haven't heard of to feel more connected to my culture. Do you know a good way to not feel connected to your culture at all? It's to have to Google how to feel more Korean. I don't speak the language. I don't have a Korean community around me. I don't engage with Korea's politics or Korea's pop culture. And every time I do, I feel more distant. There was a point online, and I know it's Chinese stuff, but like, I know it's Chinese stuff, but some people are very much like, it's all the same. I get called Chinese. So every time I see the word China, it's gotten to a point where I no longer can really separate myself from that. I now have to be cognizant of the fact that if people see me, they think China. As such, whenever I see anything about China, even though I'm not Chinese, I then have to translate that into my experience of, oh, people just see that as like Asian, and then they look at me and see Asian/Chinese. So now this thing affects me. Even though that's not a thing I am, but it's enough of a wrong perception people have of me that I feel affected by it. Which is strangely the same feeling I get when I go out into the world and I know that people will see me as a man. Good segue. You see what I did there? This is still the trans channel. But some people will mistake me for a woman, which I love. I'm non-binary, not a woman. But like, hey, I'd rather be mistaken for a woman than a man. And then some people will mistake me for a man, which I hate. Doesn't feel great. And then most people just don't understand or know what non-binary is. People think it's a sexuality every time I try to explain it to them. Oh, you look medium, so you must be attracted medium? I know internally that I'm Korean. And I know internally that I'm non-binary. And these are truths that I have to hold really, really close and like firmly to myself. Because it's so easy to let it like kind of just slip away. Like sand, because so many people are trying to like tug at it and like trying to uncurl my fingers and like get at this precious piece of identity that I have that's like very fragile and easily broken, because by virtue of perception it glints and like it fractures and people see like everything but what it is. I'm not Chinese and I'm not a man, but like I can tell you the number of times I've been called Chinaman in the last couple of years. Oof. So I have to be aware of that. I have to balance this delicate line of people are perceiving me wrong. And to a certain extent, perception is half of reality. And as such, I have to be aware, but I also need to be able to express myself in the way I want to express myself, which is difficult because like everyone wants me to be Chinese and then no one wants me to be femme. No one wants me to be a woman. I just think it's so funny that like you grow up being told that there is a spectrum for manhood, that there is a spectrum for womanhood, that there are ways that you could be more of a man or less of a woman, that real men like fight, that real men don't like the color pink, that real women, you know, like sit straight and like don't spread their legs, and real women like the color pink and don't get dirty. As soon as a trans femme puts on a skirt, as soon as a trans mask starts growing out his facial hair, all of a sudden it's no, like the ideas of gender are very rigid and there's actually nothing that can make you less of a man and nothing that can make you less of a woman. You are what you are. And then some white person on TikTok gets to fucking put lemons in their tea and it's like, oh shit, this person's Chinese. It's hard to find trans role models already, and it's hard to find Asian role models already. Most of my trans role models are white because that's kind of who pops up to the top of the algorithm. Mostly traditionally attractive trans femmes are kind of who just kind of bubble up to the top because Eurocentric beauty standards are the way that the algorithm kind of shifts and kind of puts to the forefront. As such, trans femmes who fit those beauty standards pretty naturally are the ones who you get to see. So when you're looking up trans content, you're mostly going to see white people. And I was so happy to just see trans people that I didn't notice that I wasn't seeing any Asian trans people until like pretty recently. In addition, I have so few Asian role models that I'm still kind of, maybe this is because I'm non-binary, I am more inspired by like Asian men, because for most of my life I've been like pretty specifically an Asian man and never an Asian woman. So while I like love and understand the plights of Asian women, I've been treated as an Asian man for so long that I understand the emasculation. I understand the relegation to the stereotype of like nerdy, scrawny, effete, sexless trope. Ken Jeong and Bobby Lee and that Asian character in Two Broke Girls did irreparable damage. The hardest I cried over an Asian person was when Kae Kwon won the Oscar. That meant so much to me, even though I am non-binary. The part of my masculinity that I feel closest to, for better or for worse, is specifically Asian man. I think I still carry some of that in me. Obviously I do. It was like so much of my life. I feel very invisible sometimes. I feel very unattractive sometimes. I don't know. Because I know I'm still carrying that weight and that perception, that outward perception of, oh, you're like some fucking bucktooth fanny pack wearing, should have a really heavy accent, can't take you seriously, small dicked fucking Asian man. There's still that. And that gets to coincide, luckily, with boy oh boy, that's a really feminine, pretty looking Asian cutie little Thai lady boy right there. That's fun. And a fun third type of relationship between being Asian and other people's attraction is, now that I'm on HRT, people come up to me a lot and are like, oh my god, you look like this K-pop idol. Like, oh my god, you look so identical to this person that I have a body pillow of. It's not flattering. So I'm simultaneously being viewed as sexless, being relegated to like the bottom of manhood, which I don't even want, but like the treatment is still there and exists whether I want it or not. And then, I'm into that. Like, oh, let me cancel my fucking plane ticket to Thailand. I've got what I'm looking for right here. In addition, as a trans Asian person, the question, what are you, occurs twice as often and has half as much clarity. I also just like don't even know what I'm supposed to look like. There are so many white trans people, and there are so many before and afters for white trans people. The roadmap is kind of paved. You've got a great little poster for what passing should be, if you even care about passing. A joke I used to like to tell during my first year or so of transitioning, after I posted my trans femme takes a picture every day for a year, lots of the comments that were like hating were, oh my god, look at that jawline. And the joke I used to like to tell was like, they're being transphobic when they should be being racist, because the underbite is a very commonly like Far East Asian thing. That's not a masculine feature, that's just like an Asian feature. I still think that's kind of funny, but at the same time it's like, oh yeah, because like Eurocentric beauty standards mean that the underbite is viewed as masculine and ugly. I want to get like my underbite fixed, and that's kind of been the goal for like most of my life, even before I knew I was trans. But now I'm like, okay, I knew I didn't want to touch my nose because this is my Asian nose and I'm never going to do anything to make myself appear less Asian. But is getting rid of the underbite just playing into Eurocentric beauty standards still? I don't know. It's something I don't like about my body, but like that could just be because of brainwashing and propaganda of beauty standards that I've been subjected to for 2.5 decades. I just don't have many Asian trans role models to really look up to. I found two, Freddie, and then I don't remember the other one's name. She's like a muscle mommy. She's cool. But it's like, oh wow, 2 others, and I guess I'm the third. I see visible and emotional and social progress in my transition. I'm able to like do something about that. I feel like I can authentically and naturally connect with genderqueer communities and genderqueer experiences because that's like truthfully what I'm living. Individually, internally, I'm capable of understanding, oh, I can have these experiences and these are real experiences and my genderqueer identity is real and I'm connected to that despite what the outside world is telling me. And then alternatively, I don't really feel that with being Asian. Everyone else gets to feel more Asian. And that seems to be like an invitation that they've given themselves, but like that's not something I really feel. I'm making visible progress in one direction and then none in the other. And the more non-binary I feel and like become enmeshed in the community and like learn more about just gender theory, the more I really wish I could do the same with being Asian. And I wish I could like combine these two. I wish that I could accept the intersectionality of being Asian and trans, but the path is so overgrown with weeds. There aren't a lot of footprints ahead of me. I don't know who to follow, and I kind of have to like do it myself a little bit. Also, unfortunately, a lot of Koreans aren't really accepting of queer people. The younger generation's kind of gotten okay with gay people. Korean people are not great about trans individuals. There's a very high likelihood, there's a non-zero likelihood, who knows, that my biological mother, who I have not met yet, might be transphobic. So I don't even really get to fantasize about like, oh, I meet my biological mom and like we go on trips and she makes me food and then we cuddle and then she takes me to her hometown and I get to like feel this. She might not even want anything to do with me. Anyway, I wish I had a complete thought upon which to like end this one, but this is kind of like me introducing the fact that I've been thinking about this to you guys. I'm sort of at a point now where I'm like, please, like I'll receive. You guys can now top me with your knowledge. But yeah, genuinely, like I would love to hear your experiences on this, regardless of your background, because I'm feeling really lost. Like, comment about any thoughts you have about the intersectionality of any like race or gender that you are aware of. Join the Discord, check out the Patreon. Thank you to these patrons for helping to pay my electric bill every month, and I'll see you guys later.